Oh, that's a first. No one wants to ask a question. Percy, you want to set us off? Thank you very much.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Coach. Good morning, Duane. Ryan, do I set us off in Afrikaans then, so perhaps?
Percy, if you can, if you want to, yes.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Ek sê vir baie dankie. Goeiedag sê meneer die afrigter. Jacques, kan ek hier vinnig vra? 'n paar weke van nou, 'n paar maande van nou af het julle gepraat van 'n wêreldbeker, dan kry mens 'n Britse en Ierse leeustoer. Julle het in daai volgorde genoem, maar ek wil aan dit u stel, meneer die afrigter, 'n mens kry 'n wêreldbeker en dan kry mens 'n rugby kampioenskap. Gaan hierdie rugby kampioenskap 'n soort van 'n rude awakening, 'n wake-up call vir julle wees? Of gaan dit 'n toets van karakter vir Jacques Nienaber wees wat sy eerste rugby kampioenskap gaan doen en vir jou groep spelers meneer?
Yes, Percy, ek weet nie wat bedoel jy met 'n wake-up call nie, maar of 'n rude awakening nie. Ek dink 'n rugby kampioenskappe is 'n moeilike kampioenskap om deel te neem wel, ek was saam met hierdie groep al van 2018 en 19, so ek weet uit die aard van die saak dat dit nogal 'n taai kompetisie is, jy weet, want jy speel teen die beste van die suidelike halfrond en ek dink as jy nou kyk, ek is nie 100% seker van die wêreldranglys nie, maar ek dink in Nieu-Seeland nommer 2 en dan dink ek Australië en Argentinië is hier by nommer 6 en 7. So jy ding mee teen nommer 2, 5, 6, 7 daar rond in die wêreld. Ek dink met twee noordelike halfrondspanne wat span nommer 3 en 4 is en miskien nommer 5. Ek is nie 100% seker nie. So uit die aard van die saak is dit 'n baie moeilike kompetisie om in deel te neem. So ek dink nie dis iets wat ons nie verwag nie. Nie definitief nie ek nie. Ek verwag dit gaan ongelooflik taai wees. En veral moet ons dit hierdie 4 toetse wat oorbly weg van die huis af speel. Al 2 toetse in Australië, teen Australië. So hulle is by hulle tuis in hulle tuisland, as ek so kan sê, en dan uit die aard van die saak speel ons Nieu-Seeland hierso. So nee, Percy, ek dink glad nie ek verwag dit gaan 'n moeilike toernooi wees.
Dankie Percy. Ek dink net for the benefit of our international audience, Percy, that we will leave the remaining of your Afrikaans questions, if there are any, for the end of the press conference. Thank you. Right, we say good evening outside to Ken Boland.
Evening, Ryan. Thanks very much. Evening, Jacques and Duane. Jacques, obviously you really come through Georgia, British and Irish Lions, Argentina. You've now got Australia. What are you expecting from them? Do you think these next 2 test matches are going to be a very different strategic task for you guys?
Ken, yes, I think it's going to be different. I think if you look at Australia and New Zealand, I think their style of play, there's a lot of similarities in the way they play. It's a lot more open, fast, quick, continuity type of style, trying or chasing big ball in play. Very similar, I think, what we saw against from the British and Irish Lions when they played against our franchise teams, keeping it alive, running it. But also they quality sides with quality coaching. So I think if it's on, they'll play it. Doesn't matter where it's on the field. But if it's not on and they've got slow ball, they would play percentages. So I think that's going to be the lovely test of those 4 test matches. Is that it will be proper test matches in the sense that if they want to open it up, they'll open it up. But if it's not on to play, they will play a territory game.
Sorry, Ryan, if I can just follow up on that. Jacques, do you feel it's any sort of disadvantage that in all previous rugby championships, the players have come from Super Rugby and have been accustomed to that style, whereas now we're going into Rugby Championship, no Super Rugby, haven't played against those players from Australia and New Zealand?
Yeah, we haven't played against them. So in that perspective, I think it will be, I won't say it will be new, but you haven't been exposed to the individual player. But I think Super Rugby is different than Test match rugby. And we saw it, you know. If I think back at last when there was Super Rugby and the Rugby Championship was 2019, Jaguares Crusaders played in the final of the Super Rugby. I think not one of our teams got to a semi-final. The Bulls got to a quarterfinal, you know. And that was the best one of our franchises did. But we still went on to win a rugby championship. So I don't think rugby championship and Super Rugby Test match rugby is different than Super Rugby. So yes, I agree with you. We haven't played against a Whitelock and against Hooper and some of the individual players. We haven't seen them and their skill set, you know. But from a team perspective, I think Test match rugby is different than Super Rugby.
Thank you, Jacques and Ken. Right. Next up is Mark Gleeson of Reuters.
Thank you very much. Evening, gentlemen. I wanted to ask you first, Coach, if you can just explain a little bit about the quarantine aspect. What are you allowed to do? Can you have proper contact training sessions? Or are you just isolated? You're not isolated from each other. You're just isolated as a collective. And then, if I may, Rayan, also ask Duane just your frustrations at missing out at the Lions series, and I presume your delight to be back in the camp, but more specifically watching from the sidelines, missing out on the Lions series.
Do you want to go first? So let me, the question was, okay, regarding quarantine. Okay, so how quarantine works is, yes, we are quarantined with Argentina. In this facility, which is an awesome facility, and we can walk around and be outside of our rooms. But we, like for instance, we can't go to the swimming pool. You can walk in the open air, so you're not confined just to your room. But there's no luxury, if I can put it like that, like swimming pools, recovery. We can't go and recover in the swimming pools and stuff like that. And nobody is allowed to enter our red zone, if I can put it like that. Not even the hotel staff. So we clean our own rooms. Not that that's the thing. I just want to explain that. Listen, nobody is allowed within our red zone. It's only Argentina players, management, and staff, and South African player management and staff that's allowed to be in the red zone. And then how we get our meals. There's what they call an orange zone. So the meals are prepared and then put into a room. And then they announce over a PA system that the orange area is now open for the players and the staff for the two teams. And then we just go down and we dish up ourselves. And then there's two eating halls, if I can put it like that, eating room for, or a dining room for Argentina and a dining room for South Africa, where we can sit around tables and eat. And then we're allowed to, there's a gym on the premises, which we share with Argentina, and then there's one rugby field, which we also share with Argentina. So in terms of, we can go and gym and we can go and train, but we have to work together around meal times, because obviously the hotel can't serve us a meal when we want it, and Argentina a meal when they want it. It has to be served as a collective, where we will almost eat at the same time. And then obviously the gym, we have to work closely with Argentina in terms of what time do they want to gym versus what time do we want to gym. So, and I must say, yes, they've been phenomenal to be within a red zone. I mean, I think from both sides are trying to make it work, you know. So there's a lot of compromising from both sides, I would say, and it's open and honest, the conversation in terms of, listen, we would like to have the gym that time. Are you guys willing to move a little bit later? So yeah, we've got a program set out between us and Argentina, big discussions, before we actually, well, while we were still in Port Elizabeth, or Kuberga, or what, so there was big discussions to set up a program, a weekly program, but now with the hotel also being a third party that has to be pleased, there's a small little adjustments in the program. Yeah, that's pretty much how lockdown works. But training session, we can have full contact training, we can train as per normal. It's just we don't have a normal flow, if I can put it like that. We have our training sessions, but it's not. But there might be a little bit of compromising in terms of meeting times, or meetings having to change, or the length or the duration of the gap between our morning sessions and our afternoon sessions. That has to alter. Yeah.
Mark, I think. Sorry, Rowan. I just need to answer my question. So yeah, obviously, yeah, it's a tough one missing out on the Lions. It was obviously the one last bucket list tick that I really wanted to be part of. But obviously, I was part of the squad and was lucky enough to, to be next to the field with the players when they played the last game. And then, yeah, the transition from getting into that, being water boy for 2 weeks, kind of got you pumped up to play the game. So lucky enough, that helped me quite a lot, and yeah, we're ready to go. So looking forward to be running out there with the guys and training, and looking forward to get on the pitch and play your part within the squad.
Thank you, Duane. And ladies and gents, just apologies from my side. I should have just emphasized, like in our media advisory, that Jacques' comments obviously available for immediate usage, and Duane is embargoed for Wednesday. Right. Brendan Nell, good day to you.
Good day, guys. Good day, Jacques, Duane, Rowan. Jacques, I know you've been with Argentina for quite a while now, and you guys were on the plane with them, you're in the same hotel as them. They obviously have played Australia and New Zealand before you, more recently than you, in that they played them last year. Has there been any discussions there on anything that they've picked up, or are you planning to at any stage with them? And then secondly, is there almost a feeling of maybe familiarity, because we've been in, since COVID started, you guys have had very little international rugby, and it's almost back to what you were used to before COVID in this, other than the quarantine, of course, but in terms of the opposition and studying them and the places you guys are. Thanks.
Yes, Brendan, yeah, no, there haven't been discussions between us, or even suggestion that there would be discussions like that. I think their analysis and our analysis, each team does their own analysis and have their own plan and know what we're looking at and what we want to look at. But no, so there wasn't any discussions around that, and I don't think there will be, because I think everybody does their own analysis, and you know what you've been doing, and we analysed last year's games, and they analysed our games in the British and Irish Lions series. So I think that's on going forward, playing those test matches. Then the other question, sorry, Brendan.
About the familiarity of playing New Zealand again, and what before COVID you were used to.
Yeah, no, listen, it's always nice to test yourself against Australia, New Zealand, and Argentina. We missed out on it last year, and it's nice. Yeah, it's phenomenal to play against them again. To play our Sanzar group, as a group together, because it's something that from a Super Rugby point of view, I've been involved with since 1999, and you get so accustomed to it and used to it. So it was actually it was hard when we didn't have it last year, and you almost kind of wonder where you are. I think in my heart, it would be nice to play against them, so you can pitch yourself in terms of where we are at currently. So yeah, no, looking very much forward to playing against them like we did against Argentina. It's nice for us to measure ourselves against the Southern Hemisphere teams again.
Thank you, Jacques. And next up is Kobus Klaassen.
Hello, Rayon. Hello, Jacques and Duane. Jacques, it seems that the queue of people who are eager to criticize the Springboks, it's quite long, with the latest criticism coming from Steve Hansen. He called the tactics and the rugby in a series against the Lions utterly negative. Are you getting tired of comments like these?
Yes, to be honest, I didn't see the comment. It's currently with everything that happened with us and the quarantine stuff and that. I promise you, and us doing our review and having our goal for this week and what we have to produce as a team. I didn't see Steve's comments. But for me, on playing styles, like I said it in the past, I think each team has his own squad, has his own skill set, and each team or squad will have its own unique athletic ability and DNA, you know, and they will play towards what strengthens their DNA. And I think that's the beauty of rugby. You know, there's different styles and different ways to win test matches and to win matches, and obviously you play to what you see in front of you, and then you have to adapt with that. And I think in 2019, I don't want to go back to that continuously, but 2019 in the quarterfinal we played I would say one of the most exciting, most attacking-minded teams in Japan. Then in the semi-final, we had to adapt and change our way of play to play against Wales, who was pretty much, it was this massive arm wrestle. And then obviously we played England, who's probably a good blend between the two, you know, between Japan and Wales. So who's got a good kicking game, good defense system, put you under pressure on various ways. Not that the others don't do it, but like I say, each team has got his own DNA. And I think your ability to adapt to that, and also then your ability to play to your strength of your DNA, that's pretty much what I think every team in the world is currently doing.
Thank you, Jacques. And we'll go over now to Liam Heckney.
Hi, folks. How are you doing? A question for Duane, if possible. How are you, Duane? Just with regard to you touched on it earlier about missing out on the Lions series, and that was a big thing for you. I'm just wondering mentally how massive a challenge was that for 4 or 5 weeks just to get over the injury and get yourself back in the squad while all this was going on outside of that. And just secondly, Cheslin Colby signed for Toulon last week, your former club. Can you just give me an insight into how massive a move that is for Cheslin to move to Toulon? How big a deal is it?
Yeah, to answer your first question, again, it's you know, my injury was a bit more severe than everyone else thought. So you know, I hope to get back on the field for the first test against the Lions, and unfortunately I wasn't ready. I gave it my all in you know, in training, and you know, went to Jacques and said, listen, I'm going to drop the team if you put me out on the field. So you know, I made a tough decision, but obviously that was the right decision at that stage. And you know, make sure I heal up, you know, completely and be ready and fit for the following games. And yeah, obviously it's difficult sitting on the sidelines, but you know, again, I'll bring it up again by running water on the touchline. You know, you can get into the coach's head, and you can be that extra voice for the coaches onto the field, and you can, you know, obviously give some pointers to the guys on the field where to play, what to do, and what we're seeing from the outside. So it was a nice way or introduction into, you know, coming back into the squad. And yeah, obviously now I'm ready to go. And then yeah, your second question with Cheslin, you know, obviously Toulon it's a fantastic club. It's got a rich history. But obviously Toulouse has got the same type of history. There's a lot of history in both clubs. Yeah, I think for Toulon it's a massive bonus to, you know, to get Cheslin at the club. And you know, there's been a lot of South Africans through who played for that club, and a lot of legends who played for the club. So it's it's a nice mix for them. Obviously, it's a little bit different to what Toulouse play. They've got a nice running offload style of rugby where Toulon is maybe a little bit different. And I think the add-on with Cheslin might bring some extra spark in the backline, and you see them playing, you know, maybe a different style of rugby. But I think it's a great asset to have.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Liam. From one Liam in the UK to another Liam in Johannesburg, Liam.com. Good evening.
Good afternoon, guys. Well, good afternoon good morning still from Johannesburg. My question is for Duane. You mentioned a bucket list earlier, and I was just wondering whether on that bucket list, if you revise it, and if you would have something like maybe a second World Cup winners medal as potentially an addition to your bucket list.
Well, I'm here, aren't I? So, obviously, you'll keep on pushing as long as you can till till you can't keep up anymore. I think that's the biggest thing. I've spoken to Jacques before, and I said, listen, I'll try and give my best, and obviously play my part in the squad. And if he sees that that I'm not pulling my weight or I'm slacking in a way, and I can't keep up with the pace of the game, or certain things, then obviously they need to have a sit down with you and speak to you about it, and say, listen, maybe your time has come and gone. So obviously now I'm still pushing and trying my best to run out there, play alongside my teammates, and obviously try to represent your country as best you can. So looking forward to the next couple of challenges that lies ahead. And if that pushes you to another World Cup, then so be it. I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks, Duane. Next up is Dylan Jack.
Thanks, Ryan. Good evening to the gentlemen in Australia. Hi, Jacques. Hi, Duane. Just a couple of questions for Duane, if I can, please. Firstly, just on your role, just on the sidelines and in training, your coach has pointed to it, how big a role you played in terms of analysis. How much did that really keep you upbeat through your recovery from your ankle injury? And then also just a word on Jasper Wiese as well. Obviously, he's been very, very effective at number 8 in your absence. How do you think he's got on while you've been on the sidelines?
Yeah, I think you can definitely play a role not being on the field, and I think I love the mauling in our game and in the way we play. So I think with Coach Dion Davids doing the lineouts with Lewitt and Eben and Franco and them, I've learned a lot throughout the years in mauling, and I love it. And so I try to spend as much time with some of the guys, and also introduce one or two new things to the guys on mauling and things that we can do, and to help the guys, to help improve the way we do our mauling. So that really kept me busy, and with all the analysis, the videos and things like that, to hopefully help the guys with some small technical stuff. And then I think your second question was, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, Duane. It was just on Jasper Wiese and how effective he's been at number 8. Yeah. Yes.
Obviously Jasper, I think I only played one game against him when he still played for the Free State Cheetahs, and he had a massive presence on the field, and then went abroad to go play for Leicester. So had a fantastic season at Leicester, and obviously really happy for him to get the call up to the box and get an opportunity to play, and he's really been playing well. So very happy for him. It's nice to have someone someone like him, you know, filling your boots. He really stepped up and put up his hand, and yeah, looking forward to work with him, work alongside him, and hopefully we can, you know, we can share some tricks and I can give him some tips on some of the things. But yeah, fantastic guy and a really hard worker, and looking forward to see how he grows throughout his career.
Thanks, Duane. Kobus and Ken, I see your hands are still up. Are those for fresh questions before we finish off with Percy?
Hi, Rayan. No, sorry, it's just from previous.
Okay, Ken?
I have a fresh one, please, round. For Duane. Duane, the last time you played for the Springboks was obviously the World Cup final, and you had quite a few matches now watching the guys. If we take the World Cup final as sort of peak 100% performance, where do you think the guys are at the moment?
As a squad, Ken?
Yes, as a squad, yeah. Just in terms of obviously building up from a long time out of action and building through the Lion series, Argentina. How close are the Springboks to peak?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, you can always improve, and I think there was small steps taken. You know, starting this year, playing against Georgia, then, you know, playing a SAA side against our provincial sides, and then from there on going into the first test against the British and Irish Lions. So, you know, it was nice to see the guys getting a little bit of continuity. Slipped on one, but obviously we want to play consistent rugby throughout, and we want to keep on improving. So there was maybe one little slip, but obviously from there on it's been a little bit one step at a time, going in the right direction. So I would say we're still not there yet. There's still a lot of things to work on. Because of the amount of time we spend apart, and the new, you know, the new styles and the new way the refs are playing or refereeing the game, the new laws, all those type of things, that makes a massive adjustment to the way you play your game or the way you approach your game. So yeah, to answer your question, not there yet, but hopefully we are in the right direction.
Thank you, Duane and Ken. Right, we finish off. Percy, I assume you want to pose an Afrikaans question to Duane?
Thank you so much, Rian. You always assume right, sir. I'm Rian. Can I kindly first ask the coach a logistical question, though, sir? Meneer die afvoer, kan ek net vinnig vra? Gister was daar uit Australië sprake van bietjie ontwrigting in julle kamp. Kan julle bevestig of ontken vir my? Wanneer eindig julle quarantaine-tydperk, meneer? En jy nasionale keerders het net een nuweling opgeroep in Grant Williams. Wat was julle denkwyse agter hom in die oproep? En Duane, miskien nog net 'n Afrikaanse vraag ter opsomming.
Ekskuus, Percy, kan ons net eers laat Jacques jou antwoord asseblief? Dankie.
Percy, ja, op jou vraag op die quarantaine. Ons quarantaine maak klaar volgende Vrydag. Maak ons quarantaine hier klaar, en dan is dit amper lewe soos normaal. So ja, ons kan buite rond beweeg, en jy kan gaan eet in restaurante en koffiewinkels en al daai goedjies. So die spelers sien nogal uit daarna, om eerlik te wees, om uit 'n bioborrel uit te wees in normale lewe, en dit gaan nogal lekker wees. En dan ja, ons het gister, ons is uit die aard van die saak, omdat ons nou in quarantaine is, het ons nogal 'n toetsregime wat ons moet doen in terme van COVID. En ons het gister ons het Saterdag getoets, maar ongelukkig het die toetsresultate eers Sondag aand laat uitgekom, en daar was 'n moontlike positiewe toetsresultaat wat hulle toe weer moes toets Maandag, en dis hoekom ons in isolasie was eintlik Maandag, gister. Ons moes geoefen het, en vandag se sessie moes eintlik gister plaasgevind het, maar toe ons in isolasie totdat daai persoon weer gehertoets is, en hy's gehertoets en dit was 'n vals positiewe toets. So dis hoekom die rugbyprogram weer vandag aangevang het. En so ja, dit is wat met ons dis wat met ons gebeur het die laaste 24 uur.
Grant Williams meer?
Grant Williams, ja, kyk uit die aard van ons het Jaden het ons opgeroep en hy het sy been gebreek soos almal van ons weet. Sanele Nohamba was saam met ons deel in die groen en goud in 2020. Hy en Jaden, maar daar het Jaden weer ingekom met 'n besering, so Jaden het bietjie uitgemis daar en ons was nogal en ons het vir Sanele by ons gehad. Uit die aard van die saak is ons is so half op soek na ons vierde skramskakel as ek dit so kan sê, of 'n jong opkomende kan ek maar sê in ons internasionale vlak sal ek sê ons akademie ou wat nou moet inkom, jy weet, 'n jong opkomende ou wat nou moet leer by die ouer manne, en ons het daar 3 fantastiese skramskakels, nog meer as ek na die ander provinsies gaan, maar as ek nou na die Sharks kyk, ons het Sanele Nohamba daar, ons het vir Jaden Hendricks en dan vir Grant Williams. En uit die aard van die saak, Grant het begin bo Sanele by die Sharks. En dis hoekom ons weet wat ons het in Sanele, en Sanele was saam met ons gewees vir ek dink 6 weke of 5 weke, so ons het goed gekyk na wat hy kan doen vir ons, en ons het vir hom 'n paar goed gegee om aan te werk, net soos wat ons gedoen het die vorige keer by ons beleidingskampe was beide Sanele en Jaden by ons beleidingskampe, en ons het daar vir Sanele gehou en vir Jaden gestuur met 'n klomp goedjies om aan te werk. En ons was baie tevrede met wat ons gesien het in die wedstryde wat hy gespeel het, en toe ons hom in ons groep ingetrek het, hy het regtig die goedjies waarna hy moes werk het, hy het ter harte geneem, en jy kan sien hy en sy afrigters by die Sharks het hard daaraan gewerk, en ons het dieselfde gedoen met Sanele. So hy is by die Sharks. Ek het so 1 of 2 wedstryde van hom gesien waar hy nou opgekom het waar hy op die bank gesit het vir Grant, en tevrede met wat ek daar gesien het. Ek praat nou maar, ek het nie met die ander coaches daaroor gepraat nie, maar ek moet sê, ouetjie wat ons ook Grant het ons uit die aard van die saak baie ons oog gevang in die manier hoe hy goeders doen en wat hy na die partytjie toe bring, en dis 'n guldige geleentheid vir ons om 'n bietjie na Grant te kyk. So ja, ons maar net as 'n afrigters en as 'n keerkomitee gevoel, ons is op soek na 'n jong ouetjie wat 'n pad waarmee ons 'n pad kan loop, en al 3 daai skramskakels vervul in daai rol, ja, of val in pas in daai prentjie. So ja, dis ons maar net vir Grant opgetrek.
Baie dankie, Jacques. Net voordat ons afsluit, very, very briefly for the benefit of our international audience, just the reason for the adjustment of the program on Monday.
Okay, the program on Monday, so we had PCR tests done on us on Saturday. We arrived here on Friday, Friday 5 o'clock Australian time in the afternoon, and then we had our PCR test done the next morning on Saturday. It was around about at 9 o'clock. Then the results only came back on Sunday evening, and there was a potential positive case. So we had to go in isolation, the whole squad and Argentina. So we were isolated in our rooms for Sunday evening, starting at 8 o'clock when the results came out, until last night, just before 7 o'clock. Until that person was retested and blood tests were done, and PCR and antigen tests, and it was a false positive, which is the case that happens if sometimes you produce with COVID, you produce false positives after you've had COVID. You know, I've spoken to somebody, a medical person the other day. You know, if you had COVID, you can still produce positive tests up to 90 days, or a positive PCR test up to 90 days after infection. So it's something that we've seen continuously now during the British and Irish Lions series, where it happens a few times, where a PCR test will come back seeming positively positive.
Your attention, please. The laundry service is about to collect. If everyone can remain in the main building and stay off the terrace for the next 20 minutes. I repeat, the laundry service is here to collect laundry. Please stay inside the main building and do not go out onto the terrace. Thank you.
There you get a little bit of idea what isolation is like. So yeah,
and some more of the dirty laundry though, please, sir.
Yeah, the laundry, we must stay in the main building now. So we were in isolation yesterday. So today's rugby session was actually supposed to happen yesterday, but due to the fact that we were all in isolation, in room isolation, so we couldn't leave the rooms yesterday. We got all our meals and everything in our rooms. So yeah, we were in proper isolation until the test came back as a false positive, and then the rugby program could continue.
Thank you, Jacques. Thank you for that excellent summary. Thank you to Duane as well. Thank you, ladies and gents, wherever you are, for attending. We will be in touch regarding our next media engagement. Thank you very much, and goodbye from Australia.